to the University College, Ibadan, where he studied English and literature. Soyinka completed his education at the University of Leeds in England, earning a degree in English and later a doctorate degree. In the late 1950s, Soyinka began working as a dramaturgist at the Royal Court Theatre in London. However, his passion for storytelling and cultural preservation drew him back to Nigeria, where he founded two theatre groups known as the 1960 Masks and the Orisun Theatre Company. Soyinka's works, often a fusion of Western dramatic techniques and African themes, address universal issues of justice, freedom, and human dignity. His early play, titled A Dance of the Forest, which was introduced in 1960, written to celebrate Nigeria's independence, critically examined the nation's socio-political trajectory, setting the tone for his career as both artist and activist. Soyinka's activism became more visible during Nigeria's post-independence years. In 1967, during the Nigerian Civil War, he called for a ceasefire between federal forces and Biafran separatists. This led to his arrest by the military government, and he spent 22 months in prison, where he wrote a short drama titled The Man Died, Prison Notes, a harrowing account of his imprisonment and a profound critique of authoritarianism. Soyinka has authored more than 20 works, including plays, novels, poetry, and essays.
Very good afternoon to you and welcome to the World News here on Super News Television. We are reaching live from our studios in Lagos. I am Grace Komalafe. First, let's bring you some of our top stories. Federal government targets 540 megawatt grid injection as power-starved Alscorn inches towards full revival after decades. Federal government raises alarm over shrinking pool of air traffic controllers as safety efficiency of Nigeria's aviation sector come on the threat. Egypt sets to launch bold new trade policy to cut import costs and dominate regional markets. Japan lines up major trade and security package ahead of Trump's visit to boost ties with Washington. And 69-year-old ex-champ Bash Ali promises one-round knockout as he returns to boxing after 21 years. Thank you for joining us. Now we'll bring you the news in details. The federal government has expressed optimism that the revival of the Aluminium Smelting Company of Nigeria in Ikot-Abasi, Akwa Ibom State, will add about 540 megawatts of electricity to the national grid once fully operational. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabo made this known during a walk-in visit to the plant on Monday, where he reaffirmed the government's commitment to reconnecting the facility to the grid and completing the long-abandoned 330 kV substation in the area. Adelabo described Alscorn as a key industrial asset, lamenting that 37 years after its establishment, the company has failed to deliver economic value due to unreliable power supply. He noted that its full activation could enhance industrial output, strengthen the grid, and stimulate local development. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Senator Heineken Lukubiri, has announced that Nigeria will push for a higher oil production quota at the upcoming Organization of Petroleum Exporting Councils, OPEC, meeting scheduled for November. Lukubiri made the disclosure on Tuesday in Abuja during an interview with the media team of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. The discussion focused on Nigeria's upstream oil sector performance 4 years after the passage of the Petroleum Industry Act, PIC, and the establishment of the commission. He noted that the current OPEC quota fixed at approximately 1.5 million barrels per day no longer reflects Nigeria's actual production capacity. The minister argued that the improvement in infrastructure, regulation, and investment, the country is now capable of producing more and should be allowed to do so. The push for a revised quota is expected to be a key part of Nigeria's engagement at the OPEC meeting as it seeks to maximize oil revenues and attract further investment in the sector. Still in the news, President of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has revealed plans to expand the Dangote oil refinery's capacity from 650,000 barrels per day to 1.4 million barrels per day, positioning it as the largest refinery in the world. Dangote disclosed this in an interview with S&P Global, where he explained that the expansion would be funded through partnerships with investors from the Middle East. The ambitious scale-up is expected to significantly boost refining capacity and reduce Africa's dependence on imported fuel. Earlier reports in July shows that the refinery aimed to increase capacity to 700,000 barrels per day by December 2025. With the latest development, the project's scope has more than doubled, reinforcing Nigeria's position in the global oil refining landscape and potentially transforming the continent's energy market. Nigeria's aviation sector is grappling with a growing shortage of air traffic controllers, ATCs. A situation on Export One could compromise the safety and efficiency of air travel across the country. Speaking last Friday in Abuja at the unveiling of the Isaac Balami University of Aeronautics and Management, Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo expressed concern over the dwindling number of qualified ATCs. He revealed that the government has resorted to recalling and retraining retired personnel to fill urgent operational gaps. Air traffic controllers are critical to aviation safety, coordinating aircraft movement both in the air and on the ground to prevent collisions and ensure smooth traffic flow. The ongoing shortage not only puts additional pressure on existing staff, but could also hinder the industry's ability to manage increasing air traffic volumes. Keyamo called for accelerated training and recruitment to address the shortfall and safeguard the integrity of Nigeria's airspace. And away from that, Nigeria's oil tax revenue plunged by over 53% in September 2025, exposing deepening fiscal strains in the petroleum sector. Data from the Federation Account Allocation Committee showed that total oil-related taxes, including petroleum profit tax, hydrocarbon tax, and company income tax, dropped to 302 billion naira from 644 billion naira recorded in August. The decline largely attributed to reduced receipt from production sharing contracts underscores the sector's ongoing volatility and its effect on national finance. With collections falling nearly half below the government's monthly target of 600 billion naira, Nigeria recorded a revenue shortfall of 297 billion naira for the month. Economic analysts warned that the sharp drop could strain fiscal operations and slow budget execution. Authorities may be compelled to expand non-oil revenue sources and tighten fiscal controls to cushion the shortfall and maintain funding for essential national programs. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited recorded a revenue of 4.26 trillion naira and a profit after tax of 216 billion naira in September 2025, according to its latest monthly financial report released on Tuesday. The state-owned oil company also reported a total crude oil and condensate production of 1.61 million barrels per day during the same period, reflecting ongoing efforts to stabilize output amid operational and security challenges in the upstream sector. The profit marks another positive showing for NNPCL, which has been undergoing reforms following its transition into a limited liability company. Industry analysts view the performance as a sign of improved operational efficiency and better fiscal management, although concerns remain over Nigeria's ability to consistently meet its OPEC quota and expand production capacity. Away from that, the Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, has once again appealed to the federal government to suspend the 50% revenue deduction currently being made at source from its internally generated revenue. The agency warned that the deduction is affecting its operations and could compromise the safety of air travel in the country. NAMA reiterated that the mandatory deduction is limiting its ability to upgrade and maintain critical air navigation infrastructure. It stressed the urgent need for investment in the replacement and modernization of aging navigational equipment across Nigeria's airspace. The agency's plea was made during the 54th Annual General Meeting of the Nigerian Air Traffic Controllers Association held in Abuja on Tuesday. Officials emphasized that consistent funding is essential for ensuring safe and efficient air traffic management and warned that continued deductions could jeopardize the safety of air passengers and overall aviation operations. You're watching the World News here on Soup News Television. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll bring you more stories. Please stay with us.
The National Theatre, Igomu, built during the military regime of Olusegun Obasanjo and finished in the time for the Second World Festival of Black Arts and Culture, FESTAC, in 1977. The theatre holds amazing treasures and memories. The artworks fill everyone with pride. The National Arts Theatre is visible from the motorway which connects Lagos Island and the mainland. The National Theatre is packed with the artworks of a legendary contemporary Nigerian artist, stained glass walls by Yusuf Grillo, sculptures and murals by Lamidi Fakeye, Erabo Emopai, and many others. It was put to full use for a month as one of the 4 venues of the Second World Black and African Festival of Arts and Culture, tagged FESTAC 77. The complex hosted 16,000 participants from 56 African countries and the diaspora in an unprecedented showcase of African music, fine art, literature, drama, dance, and religion. The National Arts Theatre was built and designed by Techno Expert Stroll, a Bulgarian company mirroring the Palace of Culture and Sports in Varna, Bulgaria. Completed in 1976, the building is one of the largest and most beautiful of its kind on the African continent. It consists of a central hall with 5,000 seats, a collapsible stage that can be quickly rebuilt, a conference hall with 1,600 seats, 2 large exhibition halls, and 2 cinemas with 800 seats each. The theatre complex has a dressing room for artists, a garage, offices, coffee bars, and a buffet. It has indoor TV and radio systems, as well as booths with facilities for simultaneous translation of languages and hectares of large green lawn around. The majestic structure sits in Igomu like a quiet mountain, mesmerizing visitors and passers-by. The National Theatre, Souk Enlightenment.
glad to know you're still with us. That will bring you more stories. Egypt is developing a new trade policy framework to better position itself for upcoming regional agreement and shift in global trade dynamics, according to the country's planning minister, Rania Al-Mashad. Speaking at the Reuters Next Gulf Summit held in Abu Dhabi on Wednesday, Al-Mashad said the new framework would address key issues such as the cost and pricing of imports from various regions, which have long impacted trade competitiveness and domestic market stability. She noted that Egypt is looking to modernize its trade infrastructure and policies to align with international best practices. Al-Mashad added that the move is part of broader economic reforms aimed at improving the country's resilience to external shock, attracting investment, and increasing exports. The policy will also export and support the government's effort to diversify trading partners and improve supply chain efficiency. As Egypt seeks to deepen regional integration, the new trade strategy is expected to serve as foundation for more balanced and strategic trade relationships across the Middle East and Africa. South Africa's annual inflation rate slightly increased to 3.4% in September from 3.3% in August, according to Statistics South Africa. The rise, smaller than economists had forecast, was driven mainly by higher costs in housing, utility, food, and non-alcohol beverages, which both climbed by 4.5% year-on-year. Despite the uptick, the figure remains within the central bank's target range, signaling stability in the country's price environment. Economic observers believe the modest increase will not alarm the South African Reserve Bank, which has already implemented 3 rate cuts this year. A stronger rand, softening inflation expectations, and a sluggish economy may encourage further monetary easing aimed at stimulating growth and investment. The bank's next policy announcement is expected on November 20th, with market anticipating another rate reduction. This mild inflation rise reflects broader effort by South Africa to sustain consumer confidence and economic resilience amid slow recovery. As the government focuses on fiscal reforms and cost control, the anticipated policy shift could boost business activities and household purchasing power across the nation. Still in the news, Morocco's annual inflation rate edged up to 0.4% in September, rising slightly from 0.3% recorded in August, according to new data from the country's statistics agency. The increase, though modest, highlights continued price pressures in the North African economy, particularly in food items that remained the major driver of consumer inflation. Food prices climbed by 0.5% compared to the same period last year, while non-food items rose by 0.4%, signaling a slow but steady uptick in household costs. Meanwhile, core inflation, which excludes volatile food items, stood at 0.3% year-on-year and remained stable month-on-month, showing that underlying price growth is still restrained. The marginal rise comes amid government effort to stabilize prices through agricultural support and import control measures. Analysts note that Morocco's inflation remains among the lowest in the region, a sign of effective fiscal management, but also a weaker domestic demand. The government continues to prioritize food security and consumer protection as global commodity markets remain unpredictable. Moving on, Senegal has reversed its debt servicing forecast upward by about 3.2 trillion CFA francs, equivalent to 5.8 billion United States dollars for the next 3 years. The updated budget document released by the finance minister revealed higher payment on both principal and interest, signaling growing fiscal pressure on the West African economy. Total debt service for the year 2026 is now projected at 5.49 trillion francs, an increase of over 11% from June estimate, while projections for 2027 in 2028 have surged by nearly 1/3 and 1/2 respectively. The revision comes as Senegal continues negotiation with the International Monetary Fund for a new lending program after its previous $1.8 billion United States dollars arrangement was frozen last year. The freeze followed the discovery of unreported debts accumulated by the former administration, a revelation that raised concerns about transparency in public finance management. The government now seeks an IMF waiver and renewed financial support to restore credibility and stabilize the country's borrowing framework. With Senegal's total debt to gross domestic product ratio now standing at 132%, including debt owed by state-owned enterprises, the challenge of fiscal sustainability remains urgent. The outcome of the ongoing IMF review will determine whether the country's debt will be restructured or reprofiled, a decision that could shape its fiscal direction and investor confidence in the year ahead. And away from that, Singapore has announced plans to introduce additional stock market incentives in November to boost investor engagement and enhance shareholder value among its listed firms. Speaking at the event organized by DBS Group Holdings Limited, Deputy Chairman of the Monetary Authority of Singapore, Chee Hong Tat, said the upcoming measures aim to strengthen confidence in the city-state's capital market and encourage sustainable corporate growth. The new package will include government grant and support programs designed to help companies improve transparency, expand investor relations, and attract long-term investment. Singapore's financial authorities have been working to position the country as a leading capital market hub in Asia, following recent global economic shifts that have affected trading volumes and investor participation. Analysts believe the fresh incentives will improve liquidity, drive innovation among listed companies, and sustain investor trust among increasing global competition. The initiative forms part of broader effort by Singapore to deepen its financial markets and maintain its reputation as a stable and forward-looking investment destination in the region. And now South Korean officials have arrived in Washington to hold decisive talks with U.S. counterparts over a long-delayed tariff agreement tied to a $350 billion investment plan. Presidential Policy Secretary Kim Yong-bom and Industry Minister Kim Jong-kwang are scheduled to meet U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to resolve final sticking points ahead of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC summit later this month. Kim confirmed that while progress has been made, a couple of matters still separate both sides. Has stressed that Seoul aims for a fair and lasting deal rather than a pushed compromise to meet diplomatic deadlines. The negotiations have taken a positive turn after Washington reportedly dropped its demand for an upfront equity payment, a proposal Seoul argued would destabilize its foreign exchange market. The move have rekindled optimism among business and policy circles that a comprehensive agreement is within reach. Both countries view the deal as vital for sustaining trade balance, protecting investment, and strengthening economic cooperation amid global supply chain shifts. Currently, American duties on South Korean cars stand at 25%, compared to 15% for most other imports. As the APEC summit approaches, both governments are hopeful the trade impasses will be settled, paving the way for deeper economic ties and greater regional stability. Still in the news, Bolivia's election of centric's president, Rodrigo Paz, has stirred cautious optimism that his incoming administration could unlock the country's vast but underdeveloped lithium reserves after years of limited progress under socialist governments. Investors are hopeful that Paz's more market-friendly stance will encourage foreign participation in the lithium industry, which is vital for the global electric vehicle revolution. Bolivia holds the world's largest known lithium resources but has struggled to commercialize them due to restrictive laws mandating full state control. Paz, who assumes office on November 8, has pledged to review lithium deals signed under former President Luis Act with companies from China and Russia to ensure transparency. Experts say his early policy actions will determine whether Bolivia attracts serious investment or continues to miss opportunities, as it has since the lithium boom began. Technological challenges, including difficulties in refining lithium from the Uyuni Salt Flats, have further slowed development. The new president's success will also depend on balancing national pride with international cooperation. While Paz has promised not to sell out Bolivia's natural heritage, he acknowledges the need for private investment to scale production. Analysts believe that with clear regulation and improved investor confidence, Bolivia could finally move from potential to performance in the global clean energy market. This is the World News on Souk News Television. We'll bring you more stories after this break. Please stay with us.
Interest in Nigeria's lithium reserves comes as countries worldwide scramble to secure supplies of the mineral which is essential for powering the green energy revolution. In this special report by Bayo Olaoye, the need to harness this resource for growth and development is examined with the evolution of electric vehicles and renewable energy storage systems. Lithium is a key component in the production of batteries for electric vehicles and renewable energy storage systems, and Nigeria is positioning itself to become a major player in the global lithium market. Nigeria's vast lithium reserves, valued over $34 billion, is no doubt attracting world attention, while lithium factories are springing up in different parts of Nigeria already. The attention of the international mining industry is also focused on lithium because it is critical raw material for the production of solar panels and electric vehicles. Analysts predict that global lithium market could grow robustly over the next decade, driven by the rapid adoption of electric vehicles and renewable energy technologies. Data from a Global Future Market Insight showed that the lithium mining industry has emerged as a cornerstone of the clean energy transition, driven by the skyrocketing demand for lithium-ion batteries. The surge in lithium demand is driven largely by the electric vehicles market, which accounted for over 70% of the global lithium consumption in 2024, according to an Iranian-based research firm. With countries such as the United States, China, and members of the European Union pushing for next zero emission by mid-century, lithium demand is expected to escalate further. The federal government, indeed, the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, should intensify efforts geared at renewing and resuscitating the viable lithium industry in the country to its full potential. As Nigeria diversifies its economy into other sectors, the lithium industry offers hope and expectation that this sector would earn more revenue for the country. Nigeria should not just watch with folded arms, but must strive with the political will to develop and strengthen the country's vast lithium reserves.
Thank you for staying with us. Now we'll bring you more stories. Japan's new Prime Minister, Sanio Takaichi, is preparing a trade package including purchases of American pickup trucks, soybeans, and liquefied natural gas to strengthen ties with the United States ahead of President Donald Trump's visit next week. The move marks the first major diplomatic test since assuming office and aims to reassure Washington of Tokyo's commitment to bilateral cooperation. Takaichi, who succeeded Shigeru Ishiba, will present the proposal as part of ongoing effort to balance trade relations and sustain Japan's access to United States market amid renewed calls for increased defense contributions from allies. The Japanese government insists that the quality of its defense investment, not the size, remains its top priority as it plans to review key security strategy documents. The meeting in Tokyo will also address the $550 billion United States-Japan investment deal previously struck by Ishiba's administration. Takaichi, though critical of the agreement's profit terms, has pledged to honor it while pushing for fairer investment conditions. Trump's Asia tour will also include visits to Malaysia, South Korea, and a regional summit with Southeast Asian leaders. Argentina's central bank has signed a $20 billion currency swap agreement with the United States Treasury Department to stabilize its exchange rate and strengthen international reserves. The deal, announced just days before a crucial midterm election, aims to enhance Argentina's capacity to manage foreign exchange volatility and maintain liquidity in financial markets. While specific terms of the arrangement were not disclosed, the central bank said it forms part of a broader strategy to reinforce monetary policy tools and ensure economic stability amid rising inflation and currency pressure. The agreement comes as the Argentine peso hits a record low of 1,475 per dollar, reflecting continued investor anxiety over fiscal reforms and political uncertainty. The United States Treasury confirmed that the swap line would be supported by International Monetary Fund special drawing rights converted into dollars, with no new conditions attached beyond ongoing economic reform effect under President Javier Milei's administration. Analysts say the swap deal provides Argentina with short-term relief to manage external shocks and stabilize markets, though concerns remain about debt sustainability and political risk. Economics note that access to additional liquidity could help restore investor confidence and support essential imports, but long-term stability will depend on successful fiscal discipline, export growth, and sustained foreign partnerships. Peru's fiscal stability is under growing pressure as lawmakers push forward new spending measures that could significantly widen the country's budget deficit. The Fiscal Council, an autonomous financial watchdog, revealed that Congress has passed over 200 laws since 2021 with heavy fiscal impact, warning that additional bills under review could cost the nation 25 billion soles annually. Former Finance Minister Alonso Segura stated that if the new proposals are approved, the fiscal deficit could surge to 5.5% of the gross domestic product in 2026, far exceeding the government's 2.2% target. The council cautioned that such extensive spending cannot be supported by current budgets, risking a steady rise in public debt and long-term financial instability. Despite ongoing political transitions, Peru's economy has shown resilience, maintaining steady growth of 3.3% last year and projecting up to 3.5% in 2025. However, officials warn that unchecked legislation may erode the fiscal discipline that has long been regarded as the foundation of the country's economic strength. Away from that, United States President Donald Trump's plan to impose steep tariff on Colombian import marks a major shift in Washington's long-standing trade relations with one of Latin America's closest ally. The proposal follows rising tensions between both nations and could disrupt a policy framework that for decades tied free trade to economic stability and anti-narcotics cooperation. Colombia, which record its ambassador from Washington, currently export over 35% of its goods to the United States, including coffee, flowers, oil, and fruits, sectors now at risk of economic slowdown. Analysts warn that the proposed tariffs could reverse years of development progress by weakening legitimate industries that provide essential tax revenue and employment. Experts argue that targeting lawful businesses will do little to curb illegal drug activity, instead reducing the resources available for security and social investment. Economics also caution that reduced trade flow could heighten Colombia's economic vulnerability at a time of global market uncertainty. The move may also reshape geopolitical alliances across Latin America, creating opportunities for countries such as China to expand influence through trade and investment partnerships. Development analysts say Colombia's reliance on export earnings and foreign aid makes diversification urgent to safeguard long-term growth. As both governments harden positions, regional observers warn that diplomatic rifts could undermine collaborative anti-drug and economic initiatives that have anchored United States-Colombia relations for over 3 decades. Still in the news, former world cruiserweight champion Bash Ali is set to return to the boxing ring after 21 years of inactivity, with a bold promise to end his comeback fight in just 1 round. The 69-year-old boxing veteran will face Prince Bob Alaguro on November 22, 2025, at the legendary Ring Return event organized by New Era Promotion. The bout will take place at Shalom Park, an event center opposite General Hospital, Igondo, Lagos. The event will also feature a strong lineup of Nigerian boxers, including Idris Hamza, Shegun War, Adeyemi Williams, Kaki Fire, Amosu Sadiq, Golden Boy, Oyakojo Kanuri Ashiru, Ekene Richard, Usoni Ibrahim Olajibu, and Don King Essien, making it one of the biggest local boxing showcases of the year. And wrapping up, Remo Stars coach Thiago Conde remains hopeful of a dramatic turnaround in their CAF Champions League champions despite a cruising 5-1 home loss to Mamelodi Sundowns. On Sunday in Abeokuta, Conde admitted his players struggled to implement the match plan, but expressed belief that all is not lost ahead of the return leg in Pretoria. He stressed that the team would analyze their mistakes and improve before the next clash. Despite the heavy defeat, the coach commended the squad's fighting spirit and urged supporters to keep faith. He said the team's focus has shown shifted to redemption in the second leg, where they hope to restore pride and possibly pull off an upset. And that's a wrap on the news. But before we go, here is a recap of our top story. Federal government targets 540 megawatt grid injection as power-starved Alscorn inches towards full revival after decades. Federal government raises alarm over shrinking pool of air traffic controllers as safety efficiency of Nigeria's aviation sector come on the threat. Egypt sets to launch bold new trade policy to cut import costs and dominate regional markets. Japan lines up major trade and security package ahead of Trump's visit to boost ties with Washington. 69-year-old ex-champ Bash Ali promises 1-round knockout as he returns to boxing after 21 years. And that's the news this afternoon. We say many thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on our social media platforms at Soup News Television. My name is Grace Komalafe. Have a good afternoon.
Trafalgar Square, established in 1844, is a symbol of British naval history and a popular cultural spot in London. Named after the 1805 Battle of Trafalgar, it has been the site of celebrations, protests, and cultural events, representing the changing identity of the city. It houses several landmarks, like the Nelson Column, St. Martin in the Fields Church, and the National Gallery. The Nelson's Column, a tribute to a naval hero, is the main feature of Trafalgar Square. Standing 52 meters tall, completed in 1843, it honors Admiral Horatio Nelson's victory at Trafalgar. The column is topped with a statue of Nelson, and 4 bronze panels at its base show scenes from his battles. Surrounding it are 4 large bronze lions added in 1867, symbolizing British power.
Iconic part of British culture, not just in its look, but this is very much the sort of centre of London. You know, whenever there's a celebration, a protest, it's a public space that's very important for a lot of not just people that live in London, but for the UK. You know, it's a place where people would congregate. You know, I remember being here all around the 2012 Olympics. We were very much one of the centerpieces of British culture. Yeah, no, you used to be able to climb on the lions when I was younger, but you can't do anymore. So there you go. That's progress for you.
St. Martin's in the Fields Church, reputed as an architectural gem, was built between 1722 and 1726. It is known for its neoclassical design by architect James Gibbs, and is famous for its portico and steeple, and has influenced architecture worldwide. The church also a rich musical history, hosting concerts and helping the homeless.
Yeah, I actually came to London just on a little day trip, and then I remembered that this church sometimes has classical music on, so I just popped in, and there's no concert, but there were some people practicing. So there's a quartet of violins, and they made some lovely sort of practice for some classical concerts. So I really enjoyed just sitting there for 10 minutes listening to it. It's lovely. It's a really nice church, and it's nice that people don't use it much time. So maybe we should have a nice coffee as well.
The National Gallery, founded in 1824, is a treasure trove of art. Located on the north side of Trafalgar Square, it houses over 2,300 artworks from the 13th to 20th century, with free public access to masterpieces from major European artists.
I'm not really sure. I haven't been through the museum yet, but I'm here for a Christian heritage tour to kind of learn more about the history of the Protestant Reformation in England and Christian history here in England through the paintings that are in the gallery. So that's what I'm here for today.
Trafalgar Square blends Britain's naval history with modern art and culture. It remains an important public space, attracting millions of visitors each year to experience London's rich heritage and vibrant atmosphere. Chike Okolo, reporting for Souk News.
We're going to have increase in the number of facilities that we would visit in the year 2025 by 30%, that would have improved compliance and enhancement of data-driven decision making using data analytics. That we're going to strengthen collaboration between our partners, and we're going to have 25% increase in our compliance rates by carrying out the key strategies. We want to expand our monitoring coverage. We want to enhance our digital infrastructure by integrating a secure online pathway We also want to include the e-learning platform and our mobile platforms on the digital infrastructure. We want to strengthen our community engagement and build capacity of both the farmer staff and our partners. We want to drive innovation and research. This year, we want to carry out research on quality of care. In doing all of this, we want to make the health facilities in Lagos safer by, leveraging on technology and ensuring that all our processes are data-driven. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Onoriede, Dr. Nibo Shinowo, Dr. Veronica Iwayemi, and Dr. Abiola Idowu. Your Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, the Honorable Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isiaq Salako. Taking us further in the comparative study, I want to especially welcome a professor and consultant medical parasitologist at the College of Medicine, University of Lagos. He coordinates the International Malaria Microscopy, RDT Quality Assurance Center, as well as the country's World Health Organization malaria specimen collection sites in the College of Medicine, University of Lagos. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's put hands together for Professor Wellington Oyibo for the very short comparative study. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, His Excellency, Executive Governor of Lagos State, the Honorable Minister of Health, here represented here by the Minister of State for Health. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, this is historic for us. This is a path we have planned, prayed for, and we are happy that this is happening. Mr. Governor, thank you for all and for making this happen myself. I'm so happy and grateful to the Honorable Commissioner of Health. He has told the story. So I'm going to build on those stories as I make this presentation. Don't have much time. And part of the whole thing is the advances that Lagos State has made for over 2 decades. The world is hearing it, and the signature of this project through the impact project itself, which is calibrated around the impacts that this project will be again for Lagos State. My slide, please. So what we know about malaria, in the 15th century, why was it called malaria? It was called malaria because the cause of that fever illness was not known. And it was connected to marshy waters. So malaria in Greek is foul. And that was all they could do. And it took some another 100 years before it was connected to mosquito bites. And today we are talking about fever and say all fevers are malaria. So are we going to the 15th century? And this is what we're trying to really unbundle in Lagos as it's still over 2 million people. My slides. So if fever is still malaria, we go back to the 15th century. And then, of course, for evidence base, meant that we will have to quickly provide the evidence. Can I have the slide up? Yes. So the Honorable Complaint, let me just pull it out from here. So I've given this background. Most health workers will not accept the test results when it's negative. And that's the challenge. Next slide, please. Okay, and if you don't have data, which we are talking about digitization, you cannot calibrate where you are. And so if we look at the entire program and the plan of the projects, is to see that real-time data is available and that tests are done. And when the test is done, we can say quickly, cost-effectively, this is where we are. Because you can get the rely on routine data. The country do not have quality data. And that's the challenge. Next slide. So, low confidence in the tests, ACTs are being used, Lagos making progress. How do we handle this? 94 to 96% of the reporting for malaria in the DHIS that categorizes states and Nigeria comes from the primary healthcare center and this from the public sector. It's important to recognize this. Next slide. And we're bringing this on board because we provide the quality platform for quality diagnosis at the College of Medicine. Next slide. And we do all of this carefully to ensure that these tests are good to be used for humans. Next slide. And what is known? Please just keep on going on the slide because I'll just go through them. There are changes in Nigeria in terms of malaria epidemiology. Next slide. And then we see from the 2021 malaria indicator survey where Lagos is. Next slide. And you can see where we are here at 2.6%. Hopeful. And next slide. Good progress. And we're talking about the path for pre-elimination. We are on that path. And we are happy that this is being mentioned here today. And like I said, this signature. And in line with the stratification strategy and subnational tailoring by WHO. So we are quite on course on this. Next slide. And then you can see the different tests available. You can keep on hitting enter. You have microscopy that is powered by a human being. And then you have this rapid diagnostic test that is technology. But somehow we refuse to accept technology and we stay with humans with all the challenges. So that's what you see with microscopy. Just keep on pressing enter and all of this. And this is the test 15 minutes. The result is out. The other one will take any time. It will be 1 day. And then based on that, we have done the scoping assessment of facility in Lagos.
Recent times, cosmetic clinics. So we're finding it difficult. We have limited capacity to ensure monitoring of these facilities. We also have inefficient manual processes because our digital platform is unable to carry out some of the processes in the agency. We're sitting on a lot of data in the agency.
With AI to make sure that the test is actually having the results that the pharmacy or PPMP says it does. We then verify that the treatment, the appropriate treatment. And then in the impact program, we to the public health system for malaria-negative patients to ensure that they're getting the proper diagnosis that they need and have a better understanding of what other febrile illnesses patients might have. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so I'll just talk briefly about all of the other partners that are working on this as well. So we are working closely, of course, with the Lagos State Ministry of Health, which envisioned this work and brought us in to support on this, with NMEP, which is overseeing the work and providing technical oversight, with WHO, which is providing, again, technical support and facilitation, and then importantly with our private sector partners as well, so PCN, which is doing quite a bit of the regulatory oversight and ensuring the quality of care in a pharmacy setting, with SFH, which is enabling the supply chain, and then of course with LASHMA, which is to go quickly into the final results on why this is improved quality of care. Oh, okay. So the work is providing network expansion, innovative financing, integrated health systems, supply chain resilience, comparative research, and regulatory reform, leveraging all of these different partners that we've mentioned to ensure that patients are able to access quality care and that the data is being provided back to Lagos State to help improve regulatory support, policy, and other things. I've mentioned the partners that we have here already, but we're very grateful for all of the work that they are providing to ensure that there's quality of care in the private sector. And then finally, one final slide. To reinforce what Dr. Wellington said earlier, the work that is being done is also to be supporting with testing, understanding the difference between rapid tests and microscopy, to support on policy reform to ensure that rapid tests are always done before treatment for malaria in Lagos State. Thank you all so much, and we're very excited to be a part of this.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jessica Vernon, the CEO, Myshemeds. Ladies and gentlemen, taking us further, Dr. Nina Ogunlafo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Your Excellency, sir. We're very happy that this is happening today. So just permit me to do something unique in terms of our focus for malaria control in Nigeria. To do this, I will call on Dr. Dao, Country Director for Volta. We're going to have the Honorable Minister being tested for malaria. Honorable Minister, please. Thank you very much. This is showcasing the main focus for malaria control in Nigeria, which we refer to as the 3 T's. Your Excellency, the first T stands for tests. We cannot overemphasize or we cannot underscore the importance of that. The second T, sir, is for treatment. Cannot have His Excellency and the Minister of Health standing for long, so once we take their samples, we're going to have them seated again. So can I have Dr. Walter on stage to come and quality check what is happening, sir, please? Thank you very much.
We are witnessing leadership by example. Leadership by example by Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, as well as the Honorable Minister of State for Health, Dr. Salako. Please, let's appreciate them. That is the way to go for every one of us all.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. So again, this is the way to go for malaria control program in Nigeria. The pre-elimination in Nigeria could commence in phases. We could commence pre-elimination in Nigeria in phases. Thank you, Your Excellencies. Thank you. So back to the fourth bullet on my slide. Your Excellencies, pre-elimination in Nigeria could be commenced in phases. It could start with the states, Lagos State, for example, and we could go geopolitical zones. So I was sitting with my sister, the Commissioner of Health from Ogun State. So the fever for pre-elimination have started. So I also want to say that it stands on Lagos State to make sure that this pathway for pre-elimination is properly done. The National Malaria Elimination Program is waiting to take the experiences and the processes that Lagos will use to achieve elimination to be replicated in other states. Your Excellencies, it's important to note that right now we have a couple of states under 10% prevalence in the country, and those states are Anambra, Kwara, and Rivers State. So what is happening in Lagos that has been flagged off today, it's like NMEP, it's poised to take what these processes and experiences are to states like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma. Let's appreciate her. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Governor, sir, Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, who has been ably represented here today by the Honorable Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isiaq Adekunle Salako. A round of applause for him, please.
Your Excellency, the excellent Governor of the Center of Excellence, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu. I must recognize my brother, who is one who has summoned all of us here today, the Honorable Commissioner for Health for Lagos State. All members of the Lagos State Cabinet here present, our partners, WHO, World Bank, distinguished stakeholders in the health sector, gentlemen of the press. Because of time, let me say all protocols to be extended. We cannot give the governor for malaria alone. He has to attend to water, to road, to several other things. So I will shorten my speech, but I must say that today I'm wearing two caps. You may not see it physically. I'm standing in for myself and also standing in for my brother, the coordinating minister for health and social welfare, Professor Pate, who is unable to attend because of other assignments. I am most delighted to be at this auspicious occasion of the launch of the Pathway to Malaria Pre-Elimination and Digitization Program in the Center of Excellence, Lagos State, led by His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. I recall that Lagos State pioneered intensive malaria case management in the early 2000s through the Eco-Free Malaria Initiative under the leadership of now our President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the then Governor. I am most delighted to be here today to be part of another pioneering initiative now under Governor Babatunde Sanwo-Olu as Lagos State takes the lead in the agenda to end malaria by 2030. Your Excellency, the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare is elated with this giant stride, which aims to improve malaria diagnosis, case management, and accurate tracking of cases through the integration of digital health solutions in the form of real-time electronic reporting systems, all targeted at further reduction in the burden of malaria and its eventual elimination from our land. This momentous project will not only set the track for malaria pre-elimination in Lagos State, but in Nigeria at large, thereby once again making Lagos State a trailblazer. I want to emphasize that this project is in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the renewed vigor for the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare on the rethinking malaria concept that was launched in April 2024 and is aimed at fast-tracking the malaria elimination goal through strategic shifts. We have continued to make progress in this regard, and the inauguration of the advisory on malaria elimination in Nigeria, AMEN, the development of pragmatic, costed plan of action, the expansion of permanent healthcare facilities, training of frontline health workers, and the initiation of domestication of affordable medicine facilities for malaria to make malaria treatment more affordable are all testament to the progress we are making. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry is taking these steps in order to reverse the undesirable trend of being the highest burden malaria endemic country globally, accounting for 37% and 31% of cases and deaths respectively. I am confident that the Lagos State possesses the needed attributes that can help drive Nigeria to malaria elimination through such case-setting initiatives like this program. Furthermore, Lagos has been consistently the lowest malaria prevalence state in Nigeria, as evident from all the malaria indicator survey conducted in the country, with the most recent result in 2021 showing 2% prevalence, hence indicating a tendency of attaining pre-elimination when concerted and consolidated efforts are put in place. I wish to report that the challenge of let me use this opportunity to call on all stakeholders not to relent on their support towards this impactful intervention, which will contribute significantly to the drive at eliminating malaria from the world. Nigeria is ever committed to this drive and will continue to toe the path of global best practices. I wish to assure all Nigerians and our partners that the change in the policy of the United States government with respect to global health funding will not adversely affect our malaria elimination programs and other public health initiatives, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR has approved a robust mechanism to ensure adequate and cost-effective funding for our public health programs. I call on all state governments to join hands with the federal government to ensure that our country becomes self-sustaining in the funding of our public health programs. Before I end this address, let me commend once again and appreciate His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and his health team, led by Professor Akin Abayomi, for initiating and executing this laudable innovative project. I wish to also sincerely appreciate all the partners, World Bank, WHO, all the implementers, especially for providing the needed human resources, technical support, and the funding for the implementation of this initiative. I wish all of us a successful launch of this impactful project as a springboard for the elimination of malaria from our country. Thank you, and God bless the federal government.
Distinguished invited guests, Your Excellencies, Honorable Minister of State, have your results. Pleased to say that Honorable Minister of State, we will not be confining you in a bed in Lagos. Your result is negative. When patients go to clinics and the doctors tell you that they've performed a test, it is your responsibility as a patient to see the test. Please ask for the test and take a picture of it and have a record on your phone. My governor, the Excellency of Lagos State, I'm pleased to tell you that you may continue with your duties.
Congratulations, sir.
prevalence of malaria in Lagos has been chart a course to pre-elimination. Thank you very much for your support, both the Honorable Minister and our Governor and members of the Lagos State Executive Council. Mr. Governor, if you would like to approach the podium to give your keynote and to launch a pathway to malaria elimination in Lagos.
A practitioner himself and a strong politician, Dr. Isiaka Adekunle. Thank you very much for finding out. Members of the State Executive Council, especially Professor Akin Abayomi, and Special Advisor on Health. Thank you very much. Other cabinet members, all the permanent secretaries in the Health Ministry, and several of you that are here. Thank you very much for taking our time. The Country Director for the World Bank, Dr. Diop, the Country Representative for the WHO, Dr. Walter, all of our partners that are here, MyShamed, Impact, SFH, the National Malaria Organization, our friends from our neighboring state, the Honorable Commissioner for Health in Ogun State, thank you. All of our health practitioners, the stakeholders that are here, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. When you are asked to come forward and conduct a test that you did not psych yourself for, what will happen is you quickly raise, your brain will raise back and say, have I been feeling unwell? What is going to happen? It just brought us back 5 years during COVID, and they said that they're going to do a COVID test. It was like, the heart was going to open and you don't know what will be the outcome. But you see, it's an important activity that we need to continue to subject ourselves to. You might think it's a simple thing, but it's so important. And that ability for you to come forward, if it has turned positive, what it will have just meant is that we need to make a treatment. It's not a death penalty, but it's really just for all of us to know that we need to do this thing and we need to be able to come forward transparently at all times and let us end all of these things that we don't want again in our sight. Thank you very much. And so it's an honor that I stand before all of you in this room are very strategic to launch the first in the country, another Lagos first, the pathway to malaria pre-elimination and digitalization program. We're here to affirm our commitment to safeguarding lives and the livelihood of every Lagosian. Malaria is more than a disease. It's a socio-economic burden that has held back individuals, it has held back families and communities for such a long time. It robs us of our productivity, it drains us of our household incomes. And for many households in Lagos, especially those modest earners, malaria, the name it alone brings shivers. It reduces their earning and reduces their ability to continue to earn more for their family. And so this financial strain often affects families and a lot of times causes heartbreaks and the rest of it. But we're here to put a stop or to even bring a voice to the step at which we want to eliminate that completely. It has affected school children from going to school, it has affected businesses, it has seen a whole lot of absenteeism and a lot of challenges in our society for several decades. But today, we have to change all of that narrative. The eradication of malaria is not just a good health news, it is indeed an economic imperative. It's a good news that all of us must beat our chest and be able to carry, if there's a P, that we need to have, a pre-elimination, the campaign for it, we need to have it and we need to be able to dot it everywhere. We know from statistics how much malaria has cost our GDP, billions and billions of dollars. Imagine what Lagos could achieve with a lot of resources if we're able to eliminate all of this. We no longer have to choose between survival and opportunity. Imagine in Lagos where every child can attend school uninterrupted because of ill health, or an adult can contribute fully to the economy. And one thing that is instructive was the demonstration of the slide by Professor Campbell, and I saw others as well. I can see that Prof already has a side job in animation and cartooning. It's a job that he can conveniently retire into. And the narratives were very clear. But the message was very, very transparently done. And all of us, in one form or the other, are guilty of this. You feel unwell, you think you have a fever, the next thing is you are diagnosing yourself with malaria. Very easy. Just give me injection. Just give me this tablet. I know what it is. We are all, self-diagnosing ourselves and self-telling ourselves that that is what it can only be and that is what it is. So just give us. But we can see that with knowledge and with communication, a lot of all of those negative things you can rewrite them. And so this program represents a hope rooted on innovation, collaboration, and determination by leveraging digital tools that will ensure that every malaria case is tracked in real time. This is digital. Long are those days when you need to take a whole full blood from your body to just do a simple malaria test. I was asking for my bottle of Mortina because those days when they take your blood test, they must replenish it with a bottle of Mortina. But you can see that with just a small prick, and in no time you can actually. That's what digital life, has done. And so it has helped us by strengthening partnership with the private sector. We will expand access for quality care. It will help communities to have the knowledge and resources. It will build a culture of preventing that leaves no one behind. And that's a message we need to come out of from here. All of us sitting in this room must immediately turn ourselves into an advocate, into a cheerleader, to be able to carry this message forward, to be able to tell everybody that needs to know. Go into our communities, pass on this message that this pre-elimination launch program has started, and it's for all of us to see it, to buy into it, and to work with it. The benefit of eradicating malaria goes beyond just health. In malaria-free Lagos, and indeed in future, in malaria-free Nigeria, it's achievable in our time. And we've all put our minds to it, it's something that could be done. We believe that if we can eliminate it, it will increase productivity, it will improve educational outcomes for our children, it will reduce considerably our health costs. It would also enhance quality of life. All of these points speaks to a better livability standards, in all indices. And so this vision, though ambitious, I believe is achievable. It's because, therefore, all of us, government agencies, healthcare practitioners, healthcare providers, community leaders, development partners, and indeed all citizens, to work together with an unwavering resolve. Success will not come overnight, but will be sustained effort and collaborative action. We will prevail. You saw the slides that Afama and the lady on malaria and the lady on immunization. You saw the statistics between January and February, what the run rate should be. Yes, we will say that, this is just March, but we need to look to double those numbers. We need to push those numbers to be able to achieve the 2025 target. We need to be able to push and achieve, because there is no magic to it. If your target is 2 million, and at the end of February, we are still doing less than 200,000. We are doing far, far less. So you need to double, your spike shoots. You need to work harder, twice as as much for you to achieve the 2025 record. And Doctor told us, Prof, he told us from WHO that it's 2025. They are going to close the envelope. Hello? Yes, you said they are going to close it. And there's a 20, where is it? I thought it was. They're going to close it. Our target is that we'll have to take that $20 million. We have to do everything to make sure that we'll meet the criteria very, very quickly.
something that we've all said we want to do, then everybody must be on the same page. And I want to commend the farmer and all the ladies that came forward transparently to show us those data. And what we need to do is we don't need to wait in October before we now cry. We need to be able to track this thing on a month-on-month basis. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank our partners, the World Health Organization, the World Bank, the National Malaria Elimination Program, our community pharmacists are here, all of our pharmaceutical associations are here. Thank you very much. Our various private and public hospitals, and all of you that are here for your valuable support and making this initiative positive. Of course, permit me to thank in absentia our very hardworking Honorable Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Al-Pate. Our best regards and our best wishes to him. We know all of the things that he has brought about in his tenure as the Honorable Minister of Health. We wish him well. We are also tracking and monitoring, all of his deliverables so that we can say at the end of the day, in your time, you did all of this. And to also thank the Honorable Minister of State for cooperating and operations with the Honorable Minister. We believe that if you do all of these things and you do them well, your time, your time in that ministry will be written in gold, and Nigerians will forever be grateful because we know that you are pushing everything to ensure that we save over 1 million lives, and you are doing so many things, so many big health initiatives. I want to wish you well. To Dr. Diop, our country director for the World Bank, thank you for your invaluable support at all times, funding your technical assistance. We believe it will continue to catalyze our health initiative. To our country director on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Mr. Uche, whose organization's investment has been pivotal to malaria control, we say a big thank you. Dr. Walter, our WHO country representative, we believe that your expertise and advocacy capacity has helped us to push this forward. Thank you very, very much. To all of our partners, Marshall Metz, who I met last week, I did promise, I said I'll be here in person. And to all of our other partners, please, let's see this as a start to work. It's only when we achieve what we have said for ourselves that we have done the job. They don't pay people for attempts. They pay people for results. And it's the result that is important. It's the result that takes us to that final praising point in which we all can say that, yes, we've done our best, we've contributed what we've needed, and we've seen the results. And I believe that we have everything to make it work. We believe we have all it takes to eliminate malaria completely in Lagos State. I want to congratulate our own Ministry of Health. Congratulating ourselves is telling you that you have a lot more to do, Prof, and all of you. But I will be watching, and I will do everything to continue to encourage you. And as a demonstration of that encouragement, I was whispering to Prof that I will also do something different. I will be promoting Dr. Idu as a permanent secretary. Clapping means that she's going to work twice as much. So all the very big hard work she's doing. To my fellow Lagosians, fight belongs to each of us. Let us embrace a preventive measure like eliminating mosquitoes, adapt, test before treatment. And I think that is the message we need to take away. All of our pharmaceutical establishments ensure that we can pass this message. Test before treatment. It is so important that we do not just take this for granted. Let us ensure that we can take this advocacy into our communities, into our nooks and crannies, and show truly that once we have started this campaign in Lagos, go around every part of the city. We can rewrite the history of malaria in Lagos, and it's in our hand. It's all of us in this room that can help. I want to wish you all the very best, and I believe that when we work together, there's nothing, there's absolutely nothing that we cannot achieve together. Thank you very much.
Mr. Governor, sir, may I crave your indulgence, Dr.
When we were doing interview, she thought I really didn't like her. She was frowning her face one day. She was between her eye and her eye. This pre-examination launch of malaria from Lagos State. Pathway to Malaria Pre-Ignition and Sterilization Program in Lagos. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Governor, sir, may I crave your indulgence to quickly invite this Honorable Commissioner for Health, Special Advisor on Health and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, to join you for the first photo op.
And as soon as we are done, also we are inviting all the permanent secretaries in Lagos State to join the executive governor, actors from the Federal Ministry of Health, all the directors that have accompanied the Minister of State for Health, all the directors in the Federal Ministry.
The Nigerian National Medicine Development Agency, NNMDA, was created in 1997 and backed by Act 2019 to enable the federal government of Nigeria through Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation actualize its critical and strategic mandates to research, develop, document, preserve, conserve, and promote Nigeria's natural medicine, defined as indigenous medicine. 4 Director Generals had steered the affairs of the agency since its creation 28 years ago. A new vista, however, opened in the history of the existence of the agency when Martins Emeje, a distinguished pharmacist and professor of nanotechnology, was appointed as the 5th Director General and Chief Executive Officer in May 2023. Before taking on the mantle of leadership at the NNMDA, Professor Martins Emeje was the Chair R&D at the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, with many feats on drug formulation and R&D results to his credit.
I deliberately applied for this job. There was advertisement. I applied. I wrote the exam. It was an online exam. Nobody saw anybody. And 1 hour exam online. When you submit your answer sheet, you have a copy of the answer sheet. So I have the copy of the answer that I submitted online that day. And that is my manifesto. So every month, I look at the answers that I submitted, and it guides me in the work that I do. As a researcher and proudly the first and only research fellow in Nigeria who is heading a research institute, I know exactly the problems of R&D in Nigeria, because nobody in Nigeria has or is currently heading a research institute, and he went through the rank and file from being a trainee researcher to an intern researcher, an NYSC researcher, and then a research professor. This is the background that I have.
Call him a round peg in a round hole, and you won't be wrong, as he hit the ground running, leaving a lot of innovations on his trail, achieving great strides in the areas of education, agriculture, and health, thereby raising the bar in R&D in natural medicine for the agency. From May 2023, when he was appointed, within just a few months, 4 oral solid dosage formulation products were unveiled.
My greatest moment actually happened on 8th of March 2024, when the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Chief Uche Naji, came to Lagos in the campus of NNMDA here to launch 4 oral solid dosage forms. It was not just the first time it was happening in NNMDA, the very first time it was happening in Nigeria. We decided that we will go for education as a major target, as a major KPI. And we went for it aggressively and got accreditation to start a 2-year national diploma in natural medicine. So this agency, for the first time in Nigeria, we now have a school of natural medicine. It's never been heard before. It happened in this administration within these 2 years. Within these 2 years too, because the country saw that we had made explosive advancement in this area, we got upgraded to what we call an awarding body for national skills acquisition in traditional medicine. One of the best medicinal gardens that you can find in Africa right now is in this country, owned by the Nigerian Natural Medicine Development Agency, and we did this these 2 years. In fact, two of our products that is waiting for Mr. President launching was we got our raw materials from our Nasarawa State Farm in Karo. Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava in the world. Cassava. The only country that competes with Nigeria is Brazil. Yet, Nigeria does not have value-added cassava products. Yet, Nigeria imports starch to make pharmaceutical products. We made a presentation to the National Assembly, and the Senate of our National Assembly supported us. So we went into development of pharmaceutical grade starch. Today, we have pharmaceutical grade starch. In health itself, we have developed and submitted to NAFDAC about 23 different products. 23. And they are all at advanced stage of NAFDAC's regulatory assessment at this point. Now, 3 of such products plus 5 of what we did the previous years is available, and people, because we are a research institution not capacitated or competent by reason of mandate and skilling to do marketing, we do them. We do proof of concept, and we wait for entrepreneurs of pharmaceutical industries, nutraceutical industries, food industries to come take them to the market, right? But we also owe, because, like I said, the huge component of the Renewed Hope agenda is that people should be attended to, so that they know that they cannot lose their hope completely in their country. So in this environment, anybody who wants drug for hypertension, for malaria, for erectile dysfunction, for arthritis, for diabetes, for hepatitis, for about at least 8 different disease areas, they come to our pharmacy here to get the drugs.
The past 2 years, under the leadership of Professor Martins Emeje, has seen human capacity development like never before. A development that propelled the agency's researchers into breaking new ground.
This agency had never, in its almost 30 years of existence, had never participated in any local conference where researchers went with work they did in their own laboratory to go make competitive presentation. In our maiden outing, in these 2 years, we won 2 awards. We went out for the first time and we got 2 awards. We took first position and we took third position. That is gold and bronze. When I came, I met researchers that have been here working for 15 years but with 1 degree. And I told them, you can't be a researcher with 1 degree. So I embarked on rigorous and aggressive drive to partner and collaborate with investors. So we went into that. Today, as I'm talking to you, we have at least 13 researchers and of the agency that are doing different postgraduate studies in different universities in Nigeria. I have a staff that was in Zimbabwe for 6 months. Now he has a master's in intellectual property. At least 7 of my staff have gone to India.
Quality assurance has been one of the top priorities of the NNMDA Director General, and the accreditation of the agency's laboratory and product development unit for pharmacy internship program by the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria a year ago. Under the watch of Professor Martins Emeje, the agency recently graduated its pioneer pharmacy interns.
I went into nanotechnology or nanosciences after PhD, and I had to go out of the country to train in this area for more than 4 years. So it's an area that I'm keen about. I'm one of the first people, if not the first, in Nigeria to have put in practice nanotechnology. What it has done to me as someone who studied Western pharmacy, which is more like macro study, it is that it has taught me how to manage resources, no matter how simple.
The last 2 years has seen NNMDA signing important memoranda of understanding with reputable academic institutions and other critical stakeholders in the areas of training and laboratory services to Nigerian universities. As part of its advocacy and public enlightenment drive, the agency brought together critical stakeholders in the nation's natural medicine space for a national dialogue on rethinking natural medicine aimed at galvanizing the needed support and political will.
I want the president of Nigeria to just be coming on television and saying that people, natural medicine, no other thing. Natural medicine, let's do our own. Let's do our own. Let him just be saying it. Anytime he's talking to press, let him say it. Because once people know that this is where the president is, this is where his mind is, this is what his body language is, they will start investing in natural medicine.
A turning point for the agency was the resolution of the National Assembly on Natural Medicine Gazette. The visit by the chairman, House Committee on Legislative Compliance, was a further demonstration of the renewed impetus.
We cannot have 160 million people subscribing to something, and then the remaining 40 million people, you now want to say that foreign medicine, what you call allopathic medicine, that is the superior to our natural medicine. No, it's not. So when the House of Representatives passed that resolution, I told myself, I have now achieved. So what I was thinking would take me 4 years to achieve, actually, we got it done in 2 years. And it's one of the, so our target has actually increased. The best place to actually functionalize or operationalize Renew Hope agenda, Mr. President, is in the health sector. It's in the health sector. And I always tell people, 2 things that if you have security in it, then you are safe. Food and medicine. Any intervention, any project that we do, that it is not about developing our own indigenous resources, is short-term. It's not sustainable. The only sustainable form of development is indigenous development. So anybody who wants to give me support now, I will just tell you what I want. For example, I want all my staff to live in this compound. If you go to other countries of the world, all these staff of the research institution, they live inside the compound.
Inspiring a new mindset among staff and attitude to work, for the NNMDA Director General, the task of achieving the mandate and the vision of the agency is work in progress.
Traffic regulations are practices put in place in both developed and underdeveloped countries. They are designed to ensure the safety of all road users, reduce accidents, and promote orderly movement. Either you are a driver or a passenger, every road user is required to understand and follow these laws. Under obligations, drivers must possess a valid driver's license issued by the authorized body. In Nigeria, this is the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC.
Individual, like I've just said, most Nigerians, as we know, celebrate their date of birth. And as such, when you obtain a driver's license, says for 3 years or 5 years, you already know if you do it today, in the next 5 years, when you'll be celebrating your birthday, you are already aware that your license is due for renewal. You don't have to even wait until that date. By law, a month to that date, you should start processing the renewal of the driver's license.
While other countries have their respective designated authorities, vehicles must also be properly registered and insured, with up-to-date documentation readily available when requested by law enforcement officers. Mandatory rules include observing speed limits, which vary depending on the road type. In cities, the limit is 50 km per hour, increasing to 80 km per hour on highways and 100 km per hour on expressways. Before hitting the road, seat belts are mandatory for both drivers and front seat passengers. Also, all traffic signs, signals, and road markings must be obeyed. Drivers must remember that using a mobile phone while driving is a punishable offense unless assisted by a hands-free device. Drunk driving is illegal, with penalties ranging from fines and license suspension to imprisonment. For passengers, wearing seatbelts is essential, and distracting the driver should be avoided at all costs. In public transport, any reckless driving should be reported to the authorities, and pedestrians, on the other hand, must also cross at designated pedestrian crossings, zebra crossings, or pedestrian bridges where available. They should follow pedestrian traffic lights and only cross when the signal indicates it is safe. Looking left, right, and left again before stepping onto the road is crucial and should avoid running while crossing. Making eye contact with approaching vehicles ensures they see you before you proceed. By following traffic regulations, road users can prevent accidents, protect lives, and contribute to smoother transportation for everyone. Grace Komolafe.